Well, here it is, version 1.0 of the outdoor shower with the tankless propane hot water heater that I set up here. Of course, this prick has to cut his hedges while I'm going to make the video, so try and get it done here. This is the unit I got. It's one of those Chinese ones you buy from China, and is it safe? I don't really know, but it works pretty well. I wouldn't install one of these indoors or use it for your house. Maybe if you have a small cabin or something it'll do, but I wouldn't rely too heavily on this thing. They'll probably run you about $200 shipped. This one is the 12L, 12 liter model they call it. Apparently you're supposed to get 12 liters per minute of flow rate. Whether that holds true or not, I haven't tested, but you can kind of play around with the flow rate, the gas flow, and this winter summer type thing just gives it an extra boost if you set it to winter, because the idea is that in the winter the water's colder and it requires more to heat it up. I found when running it like max flame and just about above minimum water flow, the water gets comfortably warm. But I mean, if you want it hot, you crank that to winter and it'll get hot. It won't, like, not burning hot, but I mean hot. If you like a hot shower, that's what it'll do. But running like that, I mean, it's fine for a nice warm shower. Yeah, I mean, it works good. The only issue is that when you get these things, depending on which seller you get them from, they don't give you the fittings and connectors. As you can see here, the only thing they come with is, all these are like, I think 3/4 inch connectors, and I had to go ahead and expand them and reduce them or whatever. You don't get the regulator. Luckily I had some spare. Again, depending on who you buy it from, you may get the regulator, but I had to reduce to a, actually I put on a union over here, and then I reduced it to fit onto my, my propane regulator. Again, same thing with the other connectors. You can see that one kind of looks a little bit lopsided, and one problem is that the only one that has, as you can see, it has that octagonal or pentagonal or whatever the fuck shape it is thing, so that you can put a backup wrench on there, so when you're tightening it, you don't fuck up this thing by over tightening this and it twists the whole pipe inside. Now on these, they don't have that. This one appears to have some metal plate screwed in there, and the nut, or whatever you want to call it, shape for back tightening it is screwed onto that little piece of metal. And as I was tightening it, it kind of wobbled a little, which worried me that I would damage the connection, because these are pretty tight to thread on. But it held all right. These reducer or this one's expanding it. It goes on very tight, but it doesn't have a thing for a washer like when I screw on my hose nozzle. So I had to put it on a good amount of Teflon tape so it wouldn't dribble. This is my cold water going in from the tap up there, and this is my hot coming out, which goes to the little shower that I have. So like I said, this is going to kind of be version 1.0, because my idea is to build a nice shower back there in that corner of the lawn. And install it all nice and run the tubing underground. For batteries, it takes 2 D-cell batteries. This is kind of weird that this little LED just dangles here. I don't know if it's supposed to be secured or whatever, but that's just the way it is, so fuck it, I left it. Now, you can turn this thing on and just leave it on, and as soon as the water starts flowing, it'll go on automatically. But, I mean, I just shut off the tap and turn it off when I'm done. So, I'll go ahead and fire it up, and I'll show you the cool little Chinese LCD display it has. So we'll go ahead and leave it switched on. We'll make sure that our shower's turned on. This is just a little Gardena shower. I don't even think you can buy these anymore. They're pretty decent for what they are. You just hook it up to the hose and it's good to go. But you can get similar outdoor showers. So we'll turn the water on from the tap, and you may hear the ticking that it just fired up. But I'll go ahead and pinch the hose here so you can hear it. So now I pinch the hose, it shuts off, and you probably won't see it fire up because it's daytime, but you'll hear it. There it is, and it blows up. Now, up here, this little part didn't come with it. If you buy the what's it called? I think there's a company that already kind of branded them, and they call them EcoTemp. If you get the big model there, I think it's they call it the 8L or whatever. It'll come with some kind of a hood. But this I just bought. This thing was about 15-20 bucks. You get this little hat separately, and then this little adjuster fitting for making bends and turns in ductwork. So I bought this piece and that piece, and I just put some aluminum tape to hold it together, and it works quite well. I mean, you really don't need it, depending on if you're just gonna have it outside, you don't need it. But I just put it on because it looks cool and it'll keep any debris from falling in there. But should you install this in your little cabin or whatever, you would put an elbow and vent it out. So here's the water, and as you can feel through the video, it's nice and warm. But there's also this cool little LCD display here. Now, going through the camera, it's gonna look kind of weird, but right here it's reading 36, and you see the little flame thing going, but through the video you're just gonna see the numbers jumping, so it's not gonna come up because of my frame rate on this phone. But you get the little shower head and the little fan thing spinning, and it's good to go. Now when I hit it to winter, you're gonna hear a little, oh, there it goes, it kicks in, and it's gonna get the water warmer. Now it's climbing. It'll go all the way up to 50 Celsius, probably more, but I mean, you really don't need that unless you want a hot shower. If it was winter, well, I mean, here in the winter the water comes through very, very cold, almost ice cold, and especially in the middle of January when it's like minus 30 degrees Celsius outside, the water is very cold. So I don't know how well this would work in the winter. I doubt it would get hot. It would probably just be comfortably warm, and that's on like full crank heat, hot water only. Because if you were to plumb this in a normal house, you would have a cold line and a hot line coming out, and they would mix. So you'd be running only the hot, and I mean, I don't think that would work too well. So for what I have it here, a nice little outdoor shower in the garden, it works great.